What's up, guys? Welcome back to Michigan Muckraker. My name's Michelle. Today is November 25th of 2024. Hopefully you guys can hear me. Today I am going to talk about transhumanism, which is going to be a main focus of this channel along with United Nations Agenda 2030 and the World Economic Forum Great Reset, and of course Michigan. Transhumanism is the spiritual warfare that we're dealing with, in my opinion, and it's definitely the goal of the World Economic Forum and the Great Reset to bring us to humanity 2.0, post-human. It's the fourth industrial revolution, all that jazz. So this article I have is from Forbes. It's actually from 7 years ago. It was updated in 2021. It's titled Transhumanism and the Future of Humanity, 7 Ways the World Will Change by 2030. So let's jump into this. Again, hopefully y'all can hear me. Let me know in the comments if you can't. Companies today are strategizing about future investments and technologies such as artificial intelligence, the Internet of Things, or growth around new business models. While many of these trends will make for solid investments for the next 5 to 10 years, fewer companies are considering the revolutionary convergence of trends pulled from technology, behavioral and societal changes, and medical advances to understand how they will converge or transform society. This transformation will be messy, complex, and sometimes scary, but signals already point to a future of humanity that will blur our identities into transhumanism. To understand this topic, our Visionary Innovation Group looked at 3 fundamental pillars of humanity. Notice there won't be soul as one of those pillars, and how they will evolve over the coming 10 to 15 years. Our bodies, our thought, and our behavior. Now, the question is, where does our behavior come from? We each have thoughts, right? But then we act on certain thoughts and not others. Where does that come from? Science doesn't want to recognize a soul, of course, or consciousness not deriving from the brain. But in my opinion, the brain is just a receiver. After identifying the driving forces that will transform these fundamental pillars, we extracted key themes emerging from their convergence. Ultimately, our goal was to determine the ways in which the changing nature of humanity and transhumanism would affect individual society, businesses, and government. A few of the trends that emerged from the study include the following 7 trends. We hope they will spark discussion. Okay, our bodies will be augmented. Already, we're seeing these with glasses, which I have an article I'll share with you really quick, but the coming years will usher in a number of body augmentation capabilities that will enable humans to be smarter, stronger, and more capable than we are today. Now, I highlighted this because it seems a little hubris that we think we can do better than nature. Wearables will be, or God, wearables will be one form of body augmentation, but they will far surpass the fitness trackers of today. In the future, we can expect the arrival of contact lenses that can take pictures or video, which I wanted to show. Meta is blurring the article. Here we go. Introducing Orion, our first true augmented reality glasses. So this individual is wearing glasses, and as you can see, there's a screen that just pops up. Similar, once again, to the Pokemon Go situation, which I found out that the CIA was heavily involved with that whole experiment. They were actually trying to create the real, like our world, in the digital realm. So you have a bunch of people holding phones up, right? And turning them around and showing everything. That was all recorded without our knowledge and put into the metaverse, basically, again, to recreate our world in the digital world. So CIA was involved with that. CIA, I'm sure, is involved with the Orion glasses as well. 5 years ago, we announced the world that we're building AR glasses. Today, we're unveiling Orion, which we believe is the most advanced pair of AR glasses ever made. Orion bridges the physical and virtual worlds, putting people at the center so they can be more present, connected, and empowered in the world. As you can see, you put the glasses on, and once again, there's a digital world right in front of you. So There was a viral video that went viral. There was a video that went viral. I think it was on TikTok. An individual was wearing these glasses. An individual that the World Economic Forum had in one of their like get-togethers, right? These meetings that they curate the best people in all these different areas and put them together. Well, these Harvard and Yale graduates basically got to experience Orion, and they walked around and they could literally in real time search people based on their face, search them online, and then figure out all kinds of stuff about them. And it was very, very creepy because then you could just come up to somebody and act like you know them when you don't. It's only because of the glasses that just gave you all the information instantly. So technology's here. It's coming fast. The next piece that they were predicting for trends was the universal language translator earbuds that allow us to communicate anywhere in the world. First thing I thought of was the earbuds that everyone was discussing, when Kamala Harris debated Donald Trump. These earrings look very similar to earrings out in the market that are Bluetooth earrings. So this is just one piece of technology that eventually we won't know if it's actually like a little AI that's telling you everything in your ear, right? And then the last thing that this article is going to talk about is the exosuit that will strengthen you. And we already have soft exosuits, which this is Harvard Biodesign Lab, but I think DARPA was the first to at least bring the idea to market, right? We are developing next-generation soft wearable robots that use innovative textiles to provide a more conformal, unobtrusive, and compliant means to interface to the human body. These robots will augment the capabilities of healthy individuals, improve walking efficiency. Basically, it gives you strength. In addition to assisting those with muscle weakness or patients who suffer from physical or neurological disorders. Now, I think these technologies could all be awesome if they weren't going to be utilized against us because of this false idea that resources are finite and the world's overpopulated. So we need to do something about that situation. If we actually knew that, this was made for us and that if we use these resources wisely, that there's plenty for everybody, then we could create some epic things to help individuals that have neurological disorders or suffer from physical ailments, those types of things. I have no problem helping if we didn't have individuals wanting to harm us and they're just using the excuse of helping us. So, and it all comes down to the fact that we don't have a North Star, right? So going back to the original article, we will also see an increased use of implants ranging from brain microchips, which we already know that 2024 was the year that it was announced that a chip was successfully put into the brain of a human being. So is 2024 the year of transhumanism, the year it officially began? I guess we'll see, right? 20 years from now. Microchips and neurolace to mind-controlled prosthetics and prosthesis. Oh my goodness. I'm just gonna keep going. And subdermal RFID chips that will allow users to unlock doors or computer passwords with the wave of a hand. Again, that technology is being used for places like Whole Foods. The one that's in Washington, D.C., or at least one of the Whole Foods in Washington, D.C., you can't enter without scanning either your phone or the chip that's in your hand. They're already putting little rice chips in people's hands. However, the most powerful body augmentation will come from the biological augmentation as a result of increased insights into our genomes, advances in IVF technology that may allow us to select the most intelligent embryos, and powerful CRISPR gene editing technology, which may one day give us the ability to eliminate all heritable diseases. That sounds like playing God to me. And when I think of this type of technology, of course you think of CRISPR gene editing. I think about the ectolife pods that they're trying to create, which is the artificial wombs. And there was one more. Oh, mRNA technology, right? Gene therapy. That's another one of these types of technologies, the getting down to the biological level where you can't even see it, which is obviously pretty scary. These body augmentation capabilities will give rise to humans that are more resilient, optimized, and continually monitored. Continually monitored. That is the ultimate goal. They don't give a crap about actually helping us walk better or anything like that. Talk better, see better. None of that. They want us to be continually monitored. And that's the best way to do it. So just put a chip right inside you, like you're cattle. Or I'm cattle, of course. They will also lead to implications around which job opportunities are available to those with and without augmented abilities, as well as impacting sports competitions with hierarchies based on body augmentation. We already see the early days of this with questions around leg prosthetics and whether they provide runners with increased speed compared to that of an average human. What do you guys think of like stem cells? So like arm wrestlers, to heal their arm, they're injecting stem cells. Is that actually strengthening their arm? Is that a form of transhumanism, using technology to juice up your arm just to get it to heal? But, you know, are you getting some super strength there? I don't know. At the same time, augmented bodies, which, by the way, did you know that arm wrestling is like a huge thing? It's niche, but it's huge. Augmented bodies will usher in risks such as espionage potential via contact lens camera hacks, or even more worryingly, risk of a stratified human race based on those who can afford augmentations and those who cannot. Once again, seems like a very cyberpunk reality. Our thought processes will be faster and more transferable. Again, is that necessarily a good thing? Do you want all your thoughts to process faster and be easily transferable? I think that the way that it works now is, intelligently designed, and that messing with it seems very dangerous and will probably lead to a dystopian sci-fi reality. Both wearable and implantable brain-machine interfaces, BMIs, are in development from organizations that include Elon Musk's Neuralink, Facebook, and DARPA. These are all just lovely corporations and people that we want to have put chips in our head, right? And once again, I ask this every time I talk about it, but it's such an important question. If you get a chip in your head, who owns it? Who owns the chip? Who owns your brain because you have a chip in it? Are you renting it? What happens if it shuts down? The software needs an update. You need to get a new version. You need to update your hardware and your software. Are you going to have to pay $10 a month in order to be able to think about colors? Are they going to be able to? They're going to try, but I don't think they can understand the brain enough to do it. But if they could, they would. Or you want to actually see the world as you're meant to see it, you got to pay $10 a month. Just like they're doing, you want heated seats in your car, BMW, $18 a month. If they could do that with your body, why wouldn't they? These devices will dramatically alter the way we communicate with each other, as well as digital devices. Today, when I speak with others, I am limited by the speed with which I can speak and the words at the tip of my tongue. When I interface with a computer, I am limited by the speed that I can type. Maybe limitations are good. BMIs will change all of this to enabling communication at the speed of thought in its full, unfiltered state. Mark Zuckerberg has described the following scenario. Today, we will share our vacation experiences. We upload photos and videos. With BMIs, I can share my full sensory and emotional vacation experience with my friends and family. Once again, why would you want to do that? Some things are best left in your own brain, right? Gamification and behavioral science will increase human productivity. Early innovators such as Uber are already harnessing the incredible combined power of behavioral science, gamification, and AI. Uber's behavioral science techniques include queuing up the next drive as the default option, not revealing the profitability of that ride, which is uncertainty technique that is most often used in gambling. I can go on and on about how they're not trying, they are actually getting children addicted to gambling through video games by this loot box system, but whole nother topic. But you better be careful with your children in video games because they are trying to get them addicted to gambling. Giving drivers awards such as Above and Beyond that spur dopamine release. So, gamification techniques used by the company include a graphical interface that brings a video game like quality to the drive, as well as prompting goals that are always just out of reach to encourage continued pursuit. That they put that, in video games first, because video games is the number one entertainment industry of the world, has been for a long time, since probably PlayStation 1. So 15 years, 20 years, video games have dominated. So that's where they experimented first. And I'm an avid gamer. So that's one of the reasons why I know that I don't want EVs, because what they did to video games is decimated them, right? You buy a $70 video game and they nickel and dime you for all the different types of characters and different things they can wear. And so I know what could possibly happen with our vehicles, with our freedom of movement, if we continue down this road. Even governments have taken up the tactics with behavioral science units in both the UK and US. Yes, they've been doing behavioral science against us now for quite some time, at least since the 60s. While these groups are focused on socially beneficial programs, they must be monitored to ensure they do not drift into more controlling engagements. In addition to applying these techniques to employees and citizens, it is easy to see how they will be increasingly be applied to consumers to drive more frequent and volume-driven purchases. I just figured out that there's a difference between dynamic pricing and personalized pricing. So, as you might imagine, personalized pricing is specifically for you, which we did discuss that last Wednesday a little bit. We will be more empathetic. This one I don't understand whatsoever. We're going to get into it, but the adoption of virtual reality can play an influential role in our ability to understand perspectives other than our own at the current moment. We don't need virtual reality to do that. You can actually get books, or you can go to a nursing home and hang out with them for the holidays and talk to them, and you can definitely understand different perspectives if you actually are in the real world. You don't need virtual reality to do so. For example, VR can be used to understand the plight of refugees. I love how they said that. Giving us the opportunity to step into their shoes, which may make us more likely to take action or donate money. So they can manipulate us to get us to donate money to their causes. Of course, we should know that by now, but... And again, I do have empathy for the people that are being used and abused by the World Economic Forum and the United Nations to flood our market. And they're being motivated to do so, these refugees, or rather these migrants, or illegal immigrants. They're being encouraged to do so by the carrot, right? Hey, if you go take this terrible journey, we'll give you money to do it. But it's still a terrible journey, even though they have the money and, they get over here, go through the Darien Gap, everything they have to do to get here. It's a terrible journey. But they're motivated to do it with our own money through the United Nations. It just drives me crazy. Other examples may include stepping into the shoes of our future selves and looking at the lives we will live 40 to 50 years down the road if we save $200 a month versus $2,000. Again, this is all speculative because the market matters, right? If you save $200 a month, but a hot dog when you started cost $1, and then when you end costs $200 because of inflating the money supply, which is all that inflation is. So how can you tell me in 40 to 50 years what kind of savings I will have and what kind of lifestyle I will have when the money system is changing all the time? And we don't even know if we'll have dollars, right? With digital, central bank digital currencies and such. This application can bring home the need to save over the short-term desire to spend. BMIs may also advance our ability to empathize if we are able to understand someone else's full perspective straight from their own brain, rather than if they're trying to communicate it and misspeak or their intention is misrepresented by the listener. We will see the emergence of extreme personalization and customization. So again, first thing I think of, sorry, little tickle in the throat. The first thing that I think of when I see this is Minority Report, where Tom Cruise is walking down the street, you see one form of marketing, and then because his eye was scanned, the marketing changed instantly for Tom Cruise in Minority Report. We will see an advanced degree of personalization in marketing practices. And it's the first thing is marketing. What can we sell you? Or even not even sell you because they don't want us to own anything, right? So what can we get you to rent from us? Because that's what they want. They want to own it themselves. You rent it, like software. Used to be able to buy a piece of software. And you that's it, you had it. Now you have to pay every month, and that means they can change. Like, for instance, StreamYard. It used to be $25 a month, and in August it went to $44 a month. Isn't that crazy? You can't just buy the software. You have to be beholden to the company. Drives me crazy. We will already, let's see, sorry. For example, in addition to location and past purchase history data, marketers may be able to use emotional filters based on our activity to change the tone of their message on the spot in response to our mood, our current mood. Personalization, how do you do that? You scan the eye, and allegedly they can see our emotions based on that, and our face. Personalization will also extend to our homes, as we are currently seeing with smart home devices that can set moods with lighting and music. Eventually, we may see AI personalization affect our career trajectory, playing a guiding role in the positions we are offered based on our personal strengths. It is inevitable that our diets and medical treatment will be far more personalized based on the information that our genome reveals about us. Personalization will eventually give way to customization at mass scale, where products and services will be completely configured to personal needs and preferences. Let's see, I had one, oh yes, neuromarketing. This is something I think of as well. What you need to know about neuromarketing. Nobel laureate Francis Crick called it an astonishing hypothesis. The idea that all human feelings, thoughts, and actions, even consciousness itself, are just the products of neural activity in the brain. For marketers, the promise of this idea is that neurobiology can reduce the uncertainty and conjecture that traditionally hamper efforts to understand consumer behavior. The field of neuromarketing, sometimes known as consumer neuroscience, studies the brain to predict and potentially even manipulate consumer behavior and decision-making. Until recently considered an extravagant frontier science, neuromarketing has been bolstered over the past 5 years by several groundbreaking studies that demonstrate its potential to create value for marketers. They want to get into your subconscious, into your dreams. That's what neuromarketing is all about. Getting into your dreams so that they can market directly to your worst fears or your deepest desires. I don't know about you, but once again, I don't want corporations or governments or really anybody but my husband to know either one of those things. We will see the rise of AI in our career. Oh, Zeno, what's up? I think they'll do that with food too. Everything will be a subscription service. That would be right up their alley, of course. That's a great dystopian idea that I'm sure that they have. Because controlling the food will definitely lead to controlling us. The main resource we need, right? Everything besides food, water, and shelter is a luxury. So we need to keep a hold of our self-sufficiency with those things in particular. Although already they're creating a renter society, right? With buying up all the properties. So we have a struggle on our hands, of course. But I think that we can say no as long as we know what we're saying no to. We will see the rise. By the way, thank you guys so much for joining me today. If you learned anything new in this whole video, please smash like and consider subscribing. We will see the rise of AI in our career settings as described in much work focused on smart factories, industrial Internet of Things, and related topics. This is what I've been saying since I started my channel and started talking about Goshen in the beginning of 2023. There's no way that Goshen is going to bring 2,500 jobs, 23, whatever. It's going to be a smart factory. That is where all of them are going, especially the Chinese factories, because they're ahead of us when it comes to automation and AI. Most employees will have an AI counterpart with which they collaborate or through which their work is amplified. Some futurists predict that by 2026, companies will have an AI machine as a member of their board of directors. They're already using AI with court cases, and I have an article, if I can find it. I'll try to share it before the end of this video, on the fact that the AI is much harsher than humans. That's probably because an AI can't. How do you program empathy, real empathy? It's a human thing. You can't program it. How do you even define it? Or, yeah. There's no way you can program empathy. You can mimic it. You can program something that can mimic it, but it will never actually be able to feel it. That's something human beings have because of intelligent design. Integration of BMI into workplaces will usher in heightened cybersecurity concerns, and we may see eventual scenarios in which companies are sponsoring nootropic supplements and neurostimulation devices to improve employee focus and increase the speed of new skills acquisition. Now, a lot of people that are on the left are upset about what RFK Jr. is doing, wanting to clean up our food supply from all the poisons. You know, cereal has tons of different chemicals in it. Now, I understand how you wouldn't want the government to regulate. It could be very dangerous if we allow them to regulate every little thing in our food supply. But at the same time, we shouldn't allow poisons in our food. Other countries don't allow these poisons in our food. So, as much as I'm not for government regulation, I'm also not for eating literal chemicals and feeding our children chemicals. So, a balance is where we need to be. How we're going to get there, I don't know yet. Let's see. Integration of BMI into workplaces will usher in heightened security, cybersecurity. Okay, yeah, sorry, I already read that. Conversations focused on our societal values will gain a great deal of attention. Yes. Whiskey Tango Foxtrot, what's up? It's good to see you on here. And Buck Fiden and Huck Ferris. I'm not going to say that 5 times fast. But yes, absolutely. They all want the New World Order. Or, I'm sorry, it's called global governance now. The New World Order is a conspiracy theory, but global governance is not. Just like chemtrails, conspiracy theory, but solar geoengineering, not. Just gotta use the right terminology. As these widespread and revolutionary technologies come at us from every angle and affect our bodies, thought processes, and behaviors, society will engage in growing philosophical debate around what our values are as individuals, as a country, and as a species. We need to have intelligence in order to have a philosophical debate, and our government is doing a hell of a job trying to make us all as dumb as possible with our education system and the propaganda and everything else. What do we value most? Again, this is why we do need a North Star. We need something to aspire to that's outside of man. Is it intelligence, self-fulfillment, success, happiness, quality of life for all, or something else? As we increasingly have the tools to engineer any of these outcomes, some will have to take priority over others. For example, if one country decides that they want to create a nation of superintelligent and physically augmented citizens, will other countries decide they have no choice but to follow suit? And once again, this is very eugenic. Eugenics is all about creating the best humans and only allowing the best. But The problem is what makes the best. Define the best. Is blonde hair better than red? To me, red hair is the superior hair color over all others, okay? Others would say brunette, others would say blonde. Who is to say what's the best? That is the major question that I have. For example, if one country decides that they want to create a nation, okay, these and related questions that get at the heart of who we are as humans and what we value in our society will have tremendous ramifications. Again, though, who is to say what intelligence is at all? Some people say Sam Harris is super intelligent. I disagree. Are you ready to be augmented into a superhuman? Frost and Sullivan explores these themes and many other in this book, Transhumanism. How humans will think, behave, experience, and perform in the future, and the implications to businesses. I have not seen that book. I don't know anything about that book. I do have one. Well, I have this one I'll show you. I have one on neuromarketing as well somewhere. This one right here, The Heart and the Chip by Daniela Russ and Gregory Monet. I don't know if I'm saying that right. Our Bright Future with the Robots. I believe this came out last year. It's within the last couple years. So this one has high reviews. I picked this one up to specifically get to know robots. And yeah, I don't know where my neuromarketing went, my neuro design book, but I will have them linked down in the description. I don't have a Amazon affiliate link anymore, so it's just going to be a link. I'm not going to get any money or anything like that. Business practices will shift significantly. I already did all this whole thing. Sorry, I gotta catch up with myself. Here we go. The original sin of transhumanism, the desire to be like God. Transhumanism is a phenomenon that cannot be reduced to a science or an ideology, or a philosophy or a secular religion. It is the spirit that pervades our time, and that spirit is anti-Christian. Now, this is obviously this individual's point of view, but I thought it was worth a read. With the first successful implementation of Elon Musk's brain-computer interface, Neuralink, at the beginning of the year, perhaps we will one day consider that the era of transhumanism was officially begun in 2024. What is transhumanism, though? It is a phenomenon that cannot be reduced to science. Okay, let's start with etymology. One of the paradoxes of our era is that we define ourselves less by nouns, let's leave pronouns aside for now, and more by their prefixes. A decade or two ago, the prefix post was dominant. In the last 10 years, it was replaced by the prefix trans. Post meant recognizing the fact that, as a civilization, we are no longer what we once were. Instead, we are now post-modern, post-Christian, post-metaphysics, post-secular, post-truth, and so on. Trans, however, should be interpreted as an attempt to actively manage what we will become. In transhumanism, humanism is less important than trans because it is not the foundation that matters, but constant change. That is the core of the current brand of progressivism. Although today there are concepts such as transage, transrace, and transgender, the term transhumanism surpasses them by its importance. So, what is the definition of transhumanism? Hold up. Zeno says the Twilight Zone did an episode all the way in the 60s, very similar to all the stuff they're planning. It was called the Brain Center at Whipple's. Good to know. And is that because they had the plans back then? They had this vision that they were going to try, and so they put it into a script and put it into the Twilight Zone? Or is that just the universe trying to help us out and give us hints of what they're planning? I mean, what is that? The fact that there is a book on called the Baron, Trump Baron, or something like that, Baron Trump. I should know more before I talk about it, but I just heard about it the other day, and it is very weird that there's a book written, I think it was the late 1800s, about a boy named Baron, and his dad, I think, was named Trump. I don't know. weird things. I don't know if it's, again, just hints coming out of the universe. What is that? Although today there are concepts, oh shoot, what is the goal? In my interpretation, first to dehumanize a human being and then to defy him. How is this achieved? In today's context, through three main ideas: transcending gender with the help of technology. Here, transgenderism morphs into transhumanism. Transforming man from organic to cyborg being, and trying to achieve earthly immortality. That's the number one thing. The transhumanists really want to live forever. I don't understand this idea, why you'd want to live forever. If we want to understand transhumanism from a Christian perspective, there are a few points that we need to keep in mind. Now, once again, I don't consider myself a Christian, although I think that many of the ideas in Christianity are sound. They're very good, Love thy neighbor as yourself, do unto others as you want done unto you. These things help make you a good neighbor, and help you live with the people that you live around. And of course, I'm from America, so it's the one that I was exposed to the most, besides atheism, which actually scientism and atheism I was way more exposed to than Christianity, and because I'm a millennial. First, transhumanism is not a new idea, or better, it is new only in the technological aspect. Different philosophers of modernity advocate some kind of proto-transhumanism in one way or another, regardless of their differences of opinion. For example, Descartes radically separated the spirit from the body. Nietzsche conceived a Superman, or Übermensch, driven by the will to power. I should have looked into how you say that. He established that existence precedes essence. Existence precedes essence. Which is why man creates his own essence. While Foucault understood man as a historically given concept that will disappear over time. Perhaps the most apt phrase that captures the essence of transhumanism is that offered by Harari, Homo Deus. Yeah. Harari, although as a thinker considerably weaker than the aforementioned, argues that the man of the future will be as different from the man of today as Homo sapiens is from the Homo erectus, developing abilities that we would consider divine from today's perspective. Of course, this is the preacher for transhumanism. Okay, this is the pastor or whatever leadership title you want to give him, but that's what he is. And he works hand in hand with Klaus Schwab over at the World Economic Forum. Second, transhumanism should be distinguished from the worship of technology as a golden calf. An example of this is the now defunct Church Way of the Future, which was started by former Google employee Anthony Levinovsky. Or, after all, Google founder Larry Page's dream of creating a digital god as an entity linked to the idea of a superior artificial intelligence that, like God, knows us better than we know ourselves, as well as to the idea of the omniscient, Internet of Things, or the singularity, as a moment in which the power of artificial intelligence irreversibly surpasses human intellect, thus becoming godlike. And this is why I'm going to have to talk about God on this channel, is because this transhumanist idea is such a threat to humanity itself, because we're playing God, or attempting to. Third, in the political sense, transhumanism is a product of liberalism, extreme self-love, egoism, and hedonism, but also in the idea that an individual can determine what is moral and what is true, as if these were subjective and not objective categories. Agreed. It's only because of postmodernism, which is only capable of existing because of post-enlightenment and basically the rejection of a higher power. Now, whether or not your God is Christian, Muslim, Buddhist, Judaism, whatever God it is that you prescribe to, I'm not going to get into that. That's not my area of expertise. But to have something, again, outside of man is just so important for humanity to create rules and live amongst each other. Because there has to be rules. And nature makes them. They're there for us to observe. And I think that that's the best way to get our rules. Third, in the political sense, transhumanism is a product of liberalism, extreme self-love, egoism, hedonism. However, the idea of the new man that lies at the foundation of transhumanism is not only characteristic of liberalism, but of all political projects of modernity, such as National Socialism or communism. In this context, the political perspectives of transhumanism, mostly in the part that concerns transgenderism, at least for now, acquire the threatening outlines of new totalitarianism. Broadly speaking, the idea of the new man in the West is an inversion and perversion of the new man, or person or creature, in Christ, as articulated by St. Paul. The problem, of course, is that the transhumanist new man is a parasite on the body of Christianity, desacralizing the element of salvation and turning it into a path of destruction. So he gets into more. I'll leave this down below. It is quite long, but I think that it's important to understand how exactly transhumanism is affecting us and why it's part of the Fourth Industrial Revolution and the Internet of Things. And in my mind, it's part of enslaving humanity, because there are people that don't value life. I mean, the whole war on carbon is a war on life. And that's all I have today. I wanted to try to do a shorter video. It's still 40 minutes long. I apologize for that. Maybe someday I'll get a 20-minute video out. But tomorrow will actually be a longer podcast. I have several articles to share with you. And I was going to do one on Wednesday, but since I can't this week because of Thanksgiving and need to cook a couple pies, which, by the way, happy Thanksgiving to everybody. Hopefully you have delicious food and you can get along with your family, because the whole point of this divide and conquer is to destroy the family above all else, so that way the state will be the new family. So get along with your family members that you don't agree with. Don't let them divide us and conquer us, especially the family. It's our last bastion of hope. So eat good food, talk to them. I will see you guys tomorrow at noon, and I hopefully will have a wide variety to share with you on what's going on. There's a lot going on. So thank you guys for watching. I'll see you tomorrow, 12 Eastern Standard Time, here on Rumble Live. And YouTube, I'll flip it over to you afterwards. Thanks again, guys.